House Maxima.
I'm Nolan, your humble Hufflepuff.
And I'm Celia, wise bride of Ravenclaw.
Welcome back to the Chamber of Theories. Are you ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to delve into the mysteries of the magical world.
All right then. Today, we're tackling a question that's been brewing in the chamber for a while.
One that might ruffle some feathers, perhaps.
Yeah, we're diving into the fascinating world of house elf magic and asking, could it actually be more powerful than wizard magic?
Now, I know. At first glance, it sounds a bit absurd, right?
House elves. More powerful than wizards.
Those seemingly simple creatures bound to serve. How could their magic possibly outshine the spells of a skilled witch or wizard?
It's easy to dismiss them, isn't it? They snap their fingers instead of using wands. Their magic seems mostly focused on chores.
Dusting, laundry, cooking.
It all feels a bit, whoa, basic.
But there's that but again. The Chamber of Theories loves a good but.
Exactly. That's where things get really interesting. When you start peeling back the layers and looking at the evidence from the books, you start to see that there might be more to house elf magic than meets the eye.
Way more.
And one of the first things that jumps out is the whole wand situation.
The heart of wizardry.
Wizards practically live and breathe with their wands, relying on them for almost every bit of magic.
It's true. Wands act as a focus, a channel for their magical energy.
But house elves, they perform some truly extraordinary feats of magic without so much as touching a wand.
No swish and flick, just raw power.
Makes you wonder if their magic operates under completely different rules, doesn't it?
Right, like maybe it's not just about raw power, but a fundamentally different way of accessing and channeling magic.
And when you consider some of the incredible things house elves have done, it really makes you question those assumptions about power.
Like what, for instance?
Well, think about Dobby. Remember when he sent Lucius Malfoy flying back? No incantation, no swish and flick, just pure focused magic.
You could practically feel Lucius's shock through the pages.
It was like watching someone effortlessly move a mountain with their mind.
Exactly. And let's not forget Kreacher, disapparating from that cave full of inferi, a place where even Dumbledore himself couldn't escape.
Okay, now that is mind-boggling. Dumbledore, arguably one of the most powerful wizards of all time, couldn't apparate out, but Kreacher could. That changes the whole game.
It's almost like house elves have a deeper connection to magic, something beyond what wizards are capable of.
Right. And it might not be about power in the traditional sense, but about a different kind of understanding, a different relationship with magic itself.
And this idea that house elf magic is fundamentally different from wizard magic is reinforced when you consider that house elves seem to possess magic that's unique to their species.
Oh, absolutely. Unlike other magical creatures who might share some abilities with wizards, house elf magic seems to operate on its own set of rules.
Which of course just adds to the mystery and the intrigue.
Makes you wonder, what other unique magical feats might they be capable of that we haven't even seen?
What secrets are they hiding up those baggy sleeves?
Right. Like if they can bypass the protective enchantments of Hogwarts, as Ron observed them doing.
And they do seem to be popping in and out of Hogwarts as they please.
What other seemingly impossible feats might they be able to achieve?
It's a question that keeps me up at night. Now, while we're pondering the sheer power of house elf magic, we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Oh, what's that?
The limitations imposed by servitude.
Right, we can't forget that despite their incredible power, house elves are often bound to serve wizards.
Their magic, while potent, is often directed by the will of their masters, used for tasks that might seem trivial.
Or even demeaning. Dobby.
Right, punishing himself. Winky's absolute distress at being freed in these examples really highlight the depth of their servitude and the complex emotions tied to it.
And it might explain why their magic is rarely used offensively against wizards, even when they're mistreated.
It's like their loyalty acts as a powerful restraint, holding back this immense magical potential.
But it begs the question, what if a house elf was trained, or even chose to use their magic offensively?
Shivers. What if that restraint was lifted?
That's a chilling thought, for sure. But even within the confines of servitude, we see flashes of extraordinary power that make you wonder, what if?
Absolutely. We need to unpack some of those moments because even when performing seemingly mundane tasks, house elves demonstrate a level of magical control that's simply astounding.
Okay, hit me with some examples.
Well, how about when Dobby sealed the barrier preventing Harry and Ron from getting to Hogwarts?
Yeah, that took incredible precision and power. He didn't just close the barrier, he made it impenetrable, even to magic.
And then there's that time he charmed that bludger to specifically target Harry during a Quidditch match.
Talk about holding a grudge.
That's not just a bit of mischief, that's expert-level charm work. To imbue an object with that kind of intent and control without a wand, it's mind-blowing.
And let's not forget how he disarmed Narcissa Malfoy, one of the most skilled witches in the Death Eater ranks, with just a snap of his fingers.
Poof, wand gone.
These examples really make you realize that House-Elves are operating on a whole other level, even when their actions seem small or insignificant.
Like they're playing a different game entirely, with a different set of rules.
It really does challenge our understanding of power dynamics within the wizarding world, because who truly holds the power in those situations?
Exactly. And speaking of power dynamics, we can't forget about Kreacher and his incredible journey.
Kreacher. Such a complex character.
He starts off as this seemingly spiteful, almost villainous character, clinging to the prejudiced beliefs of the Black family.
Totally obsessed with their dark artifacts and clinging to their pureblood mania.
But then we learn about his devotion to Regulus Black, who defied Voldemort, and everything changes.
His loyalty shifts, his heart opens, and during the Battle of Hogwarts,
He becomes a leader.
he leads the House-Elves against the Death Eaters, rallying them with that incredible cry, "Fight, fight, fight for my master, defender of House-Elves. Fight the Dark Lord in the name of brave Regulus. Fight."
It's a scene that still gives me goosebumps.
So powerful. It shows us that House-Elves are capable of choosing their loyalties, of fighting for what they believe in.
It also speaks to the idea that even the most prejudiced beings can experience growth and change.
Kreacher went from serving a dark wizard family to leading a rebellion against Voldemort.
Talk about a redemption arc.
It really makes you wonder, what other hidden depths are there to House-Elves? What happens when their loyalty is truly earned and freely given?
What could they accomplish if they chose their own path?
And all of this brings us to another intriguing mystery that points to the uniqueness of House-Elf magic. The Trace.
The bane of every underage witch and wizard.
Right. For those who need a refresher, the Trace is a magical charm that detects when magic is performed by underage witches and wizards,
It's how the Ministry keeps tabs on young magic users.
making sure they don't go around breaking the statute of secrecy.
But here's where things get really interesting. Remember when Dobby was at the Dursleys and he used a hover charm on that pudding to make a mess?
Oh yeah. Classic Dobby chaos.
The Ministry detected that magic had been performed at the Dursleys, but they couldn't pinpoint the source.
Right. They knew magic was happening, but they couldn't figure out who's doing it.
They obviously suspected Harry, but we know it was Dobby.
Which suggests that House-Elf magic might operate outside the Ministry's conventional detection methods.
It's like their magic is somehow invisible to the Trace, or maybe it operates on a completely different frequency that the Ministry just hasn't figured out how to track.
That opens up a whole new can of worms. Does this mean that House-Elf magic is somehow beyond the Ministry's control?
Do they have their own magical laws? Their own governing body?
It's a question we don't have a definitive answer to, but it certainly raises some fascinating possibilities.
And it leads us to perhaps the most tantalizing what if of all. What if House-Elves were allowed, or even encouraged, to use wands?
Now we're really getting into dangerous territory.
The wizarding world currently forbids wand use by magical creatures, including House-Elves.
But imagine the potential.
Yeah.
If their wandless magic is already so powerful, what heights could they reach with a focused conduit like a wand?
I can't even comprehend it. It would be like giving a master chef a whole new kitchen of cutting-edge tools.
Their creativity and potential would explode.
Right. They could achieve feats of magic we can only dream of. They might even surpass the limitations of traditional wizard magic.
It's a thrilling and perhaps slightly terrifying thought.
Terrifying for whom, though? That's the question we need to ask.
Right. Is it the potential for chaos and destruction that worries us?
Or is it the fear of a power shift, a challenge to the established hierarchy of the wizarding world? Because, let's be honest, the wizarding world has always been wary of magical creatures, often relegating them to subservient roles.
But what if embracing the full potential of House-Elf magic could lead to a more balanced, even harmonious coexistence? What if, instead of fearing their power, we sought to understand it and work with it?
Imagine that. Collaboration instead of control.
It's a radical idea, but one worth considering.
Definitely worth pondering.
Imagine a world where House-Elves are not just servants, but partners, collaborators, equals in the realm of magic.
Where their unique abilities could revolutionize everything from healing and potion making to defense against the dark arts.
A world where their voices are heard, their talents celebrated.
Of course, there would be challenges, adjustments, ethical considerations to address.
Of course. But the potential benefits are too great to ignore.
We need to move beyond fear and prejudice and embrace the possibility of a more inclusive and expansive magical world.
A world where the true power of house elf magic can finally shine.
So, what do you think, fellow theorists? Are we ready to challenge the status quo?
Are we ready to unlock the full potential of house elf magic?
We were just scratching the surface.
Right. And one thing that really got me thinking was how house elves can apparate where wizards can't.
That was a real head-scratcher.
It's not just about raw power, is it? It's about being able to access places, to manipulate space and time in ways that even the most skilled wizards can't seem to manage.
Exactly. Like, remember that cave full of Infuri?
Shudder. That place still gives me nightmares.
Even Dumbledore, with all his knowledge and magical power, couldn't apparate out of there.
But Kreacher, well, he just popped out like it was nothing.
He had a job to do.
And it makes you wonder, if Dumbledore couldn't do it, how did Kreacher manage it?
Right. What's the secret ingredient in house elf magic that lets them bypass those limitations?
It's like they have a key that unlocks a hidden door in the fabric of magic.
And the wizards haven't even figured out where the door is.
Exactly. And maybe it's not just about raw power, but a different kind of connection to magic, a deeper understanding.
Almost like they're speaking a different language.
Oh, I like that. And think about, this Kreacher was bound by an order from his master, Regulus Black, to return.
You're thinking that maybe the power of a master's order somehow strengthens a house elf's magic.
Yeah, maybe that connection, that bond between a house elf and their master, amplifies their magic in some way, allows them to break through even the most powerful magical barriers.
It would explain how Kreacher could escape a place where even Dumbledore couldn't.
Right, and it adds another layer to this whole question of power dynamics, doesn't it? Because if their magic is influenced by their connection to their master, what happens when that connection is based on mutual respect and trust, rather than servitude?
What happens when a house elf isn't just following orders, but actively chooses to use their magic for something they believe in?
Like Kreacher leading the House-Elves against Voldemort.
Maybe his loyalty to Regulus and his belief in fighting against the Dark Lord fueled his magic in ways we can't even comprehend.
It's a fascinating thought. It makes you wonder what could happen if wizards, instead of fearing and suppressing house elf magic, actually tried to understand it and work with it.
Elaborate, learn from each other.
Exactly. Imagine the possibilities.
We've been focusing a lot on Kreacher, but let's not forget about Dobby.
Our favorite rebellious house elf.
He really shook things up, didn't he? Defying Lucius Malfoy, one of the most powerful wizards in the wizarding world.
He stood up to him, protected Harry, and never backed down.
And remember how clever he was with his magic?
Oh yeah, he was a real trickster.
He wasn't just being mischievous, he was trying to protect Harry, even if it meant going against his master's wishes.
And that takes a lot of courage, especially for a house elf.
It shows a real sense of independence, of thinking for himself.
But seriously, sealing off an entire magical gateway, that's next level magic.
It makes you wonder what else house elves could accomplish if they were given the freedom to really explore their magical potential.
Right. We need to ensure that wand use is taught responsibly, and that house elves are treated as equals, not just tools to be wielded.
Right. But if we could navigate those challenges, just imagine the potential.
A world where wizards and house elves work together, sharing their knowledge, combining their unique talents.
It's a vision worth striving for, isn't it?
Absolutely. And maybe, in doing so, we might finally answer the question that's been driving this whole deep dive. Is house elf magic truly more powerful than wizard magic? Or is it something else entirely?
Something even more extraordinary than we can imagine. Now that's a question to ponder.
We've uncovered some incredible mysteries, challenged some long-held beliefs, and hopefully sparked some new ideas.
The Chamber of Theories is always open, so keep those conversations going in the comments below.
Let us know your thoughts, your own theories about house elf magic.
Until next time, keep your wands at the ready.
And remember,
The Chamber awaits.
Lumos Maxima.